under Elijah for about 50 years, preparing for what God had next for him. Now Elijah, he was training these young prophets. So in verse 1, the school of the prophets, they were telling them that we become so large, we're outgrowing our current place. So he was teaching, and they were growing, and they had outgrew their place. So the ancient prophets, they approached Elijah, which was their teacher, and they began to ask him, could they go with them? So they wasn't expecting for him to actually go and help them build, but because he was their teacher, they had learned so much from him, they just wanted him to be there. They wanted him for the inspiration. Just like today, my pastor, my bishop, I'm glad that he's here. He's my inspiration and my mom. So I can understand what they're saying. Not that I want my bishop and my mom to get their hands. He had been commissioned to do. When he did that, he lost his effectiveness to do the work that he was called to do. So with his accent being over in that Jordan River, he couldn't do the work. It's just like us today in the church. Have you lost your cutting edge? Have you lost your spiritual sharpness? Have you lost your effectiveness? Have you lost your enthusiasm to do God's will? In this time we're living in now, nobody wants to do God's will. Nobody said, I have time for it. Prime example tonight, this is a Saturday. I know we all work all week, but nobody wants to take the little time out for God because they lost their edge. They lost everything. You may be wondering or asking yourself, okay, yes, I've lost my spiritual edge. Is it even possible for me to get that back? Absolutely. Absolutely. As long as it's breath in your body, it's possible. In the few next texts, I'm going to tell you some things about how to recover what you've lost. Three things to how to recover what you've lost. So if you really want to get back what God has for you, here's some tips for you. We first must accept responsibility for our spiritual age. So you got to accept the responsibility. Okay, I'm losing something. So in verse 5, it talks about one was cutting down a tree, and it tells you his axe head fell into the water, and he cried out, alas, master, for it was borrowed. The word alas means an expression. It can be an expression of grief, or pity, or concern. For him, for an example, I guess he was saying, oh no to the master. I've lost something. And the big thing about that, he lost something that wasn't even his. It was something that was borrowed. Something that he didn't even have, probably couldn't even afford to get back. So, but when the young man cried out to the master that he lost something, he didn't blame anybody else for what happened. He didn't say, it's their fault. They were in my way. They had me working too hard and it made it come on. He didn't do that. He took full responsibility about what happened. When we lose our spiritual edge, it's the same thing. We got to take responsibility. We cannot point the finger. Some may point the finger and say, I lost my spiritual edge because the pastor or the preacher's sermons are just so boring and they don't feed me. Can't do that. Some may say, I've lost my spiritual edge because my church don't offer anything to fulfill my needs. Wrong. They may even say, I'm blaming my job. My job take me from a church too much. I've lost my spiritual edge. But the truth of the matter is, the blame lies within us. Because you shouldn't go to receive the word, hear the word, break it to you. It's not, your church shouldn't be fitting your personal needs. The church is about fitting the needs of the kingdom, fitting the needs of the people. So you have to say, you know what, I may have slacked up from church. It may be because your job, you want a whole bunch of overtime. You want to get that overtime. Prime example. My son just recently got a job a little over a month. And he was off today, and he wanted to come with me to the service, which he has to work tomorrow. And right now, he hasn't gotten his car situation yet. But they called him and they asked him to work today. And Tyrone was like, well, Mom, they want me to come to work. And he was like, if you think it'll be okay if I can go and get off at 2. I was like, oh, okay, if that's what you want to do, want to do. But then I said, that time on it, they don't want you to go to work till 11 o'clock. And we've lost something that we borrowed. When we've lost our spiritual edge, we've lost what God has entrusted us. Spiritual gifts, our spiritual gifts, they ain't ours. We think they are, but they're not. We just stewards of our spiritual gifts. So when our spiritual gifts and our spiritual edge is no longer effective and we're not using it, guess what? We've lost what God has entrusted to us, and you want to act like something. It don't even belong to us. It's what God has given to us. But if we would only just accept responsibility for losing our edge, all you got to say is, God, I done lost my way. God, help me. But we so bigoted, we so filled up in pride, we don't want to do that. The second thing we have to do is acknowledge where we lost our spiritual edge. Now you can just say, oh Lord, I lost my spiritual edge, but you got to make this thing plain with God. You know what you have or have not done. So you have to figure out where I've lost it. In verse 6 it says, the man of God said, where did it fall? He showed him the place. So he cut off his stick and threw it in there, and the iron floated up. Elias asked the young man to show him where his axe head went. The Bible don't say that he was scratching his head trying to figure out, I think it went over here, I think it went over there. He knew exactly where he lost it. Exactly where it went. So when you know exactly where you lost your spiritual edge, come on and get real with God. Come on, and God said, God, I've slacked up in my prayer life. I've slacked up in my praising. Come on and help me. Now what happened next was a miracle. There was no human means for them to get that axe head out of Jordan River. It probably was deep, too far for them to swim. I'm thinking it was probably so muddy they couldn't even see it. It took some divine intervention to get there. So when Elijah threw that stick over there, see, he had been up under Elijah, anointed man of God. So he had that anointing. So when he threw that stick, that matter raised up to the water. That took some divine power. They couldn't do that on their own. We learned two valuable things in the 6th verse. Before you can ever recover something that's lost, you got to go back to where you lost it. Where you lost it at. At any time we lose our spiritual edge, our effectiveness, our enthusiasm, we just need to just acknowledge it. We have to think, well, God, did it happen because I stopped reading my Bible and praying every day? You have to ask yourself, did it happen when I stopped going to church regularly, stopped going to Bible class, stopped going to Sunday school? Did it happen because we got upset over something that happened in church that didn't mount up to a hill of beans? And when you got mad and said, I'm not going. Or did it happen when you went back to your old sinful way? Those are questions that you got to ask yourself. Where did it happen? Where did it happen? See, we have a tendency sometimes, I've been guilty myself, we just chopping in life and not even realizing our spiritual axe had gone. We think we're doing something. And we don't even have the tools that God has equipped us to do.
Praise God.
We got to recover our spiritual edge. And we got to acknowledge, where did I lose it at, God? The second lesson we will learn in the 6th verse is to acknowledge that we have to rely on God's power. That's another thing. We